on me. Let's speak on it, a stretch for anybody to reach on me. Just breathe on it, don't tell them, they gotta know it's me on it. Won't kick it on me and go for 3 on you. You couldn't guard me with the cleanest armor, I got it covered, these corners. I'm the top dog in the league, homie. Let's speak on it, it's a stretch for anybody to reach on me. Just breathe on it, don't tell them, they gotta know it's me on it. Won't kick it on me and go for 3 on you. You couldn't guard me with the cleanest armor, I got it covered, these corner like.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of D's Corner. I am your host, D. There have been some things going on. I haven't been able to upload a video about 2 weeks. Just been kind of working on certain things and getting back. Little league starts up, so getting back to coaching and whatnot. But I do have some things that are coming up. Check me out on Twitch at D's Gaming Corner. That's D's Gaming Corner on Twitch, as well as YouTube. Like, share, subscribe there. Check me out. Like I said, follow me on Twitch. Drop some PSNs. Right now, I'm just running Madden, waiting for that NCAA to drop. Call of Duty, GTA, Red Dead Redemption. I need some more games to play, man. Like, I'm pretty much a sports game guy. I haven't played a basketball game in a long time. I think since KD was on the Warriors. So that tell you how long it's been since I played any bit of 2K. But, man, like I said, check me out on there. Right now, you know, we're jumping in. We still talking NFL right here. We got Dak walking in a walking boot. Got to see where that's going. He says that he hasn't had any issues. He just always or he's not injured. He just always has certain issues, especially going deep sea fishing. He has swelling and whatnot in the leg, which means you still got some issues there, brother, whether you want to admit that or not. Also, Aaron Rodgers missing mandatory minicamp. Everyone was tripping about that. But today's video, we're going to talk about the best remaining free agents. These are free agents that I think should be able to get some form of contract before camp starts, which I think camp starts next week, if I'm not mistaken. Some may even start this week. So I hope everyone had a good 4th of July. Hope everyone was safe and nothing happened. Again, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Check me out. Anywhere you see me, I will be on Double D's podcast as well. We also have Double D's Gaming coming out. Check us out there, as well as Double D's Let's Talk NCAA, where we're going to just strictly stick to college football. We already have the Let's Talk Ball, Pro Ball podcast, Double D's Let's Talk Pro Ball podcast, where we talk pretty much NFL and really anything that's going on, anything that's new. But college ball is going to strictly stick to college, recruiting, things of that nature. But we got gaming coming out there. We've already had two test runs. You can check that out as well. It's going to be Double D's Gaming on Twitch. Man, we got some things coming, man. Just continue to, like I said, like, share, subscribe, help me grow. Check everything out I got going on. If you like it, cool. If you don't, that's cool too. Not for everybody, obviously. So again, let's get ready, man. Going to jump into this video. First up, like I said, Double D's. I'm sorry, not Double D's, just the D's Gaming Corner. Check me out on Twitch. D's Gaming Corner is the name right there. DS Gaming Corner. Like I said, I haven't gotten any videos up yet. I haven't streamed just yet. I think I might possibly try to stream today. But we'll see how that goes. But again, check me out there. All right, so first up for the best free agents remaining, I think, will be Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas is a former 3-time Pro Bowler. Is a 2-time All-Pro. He was the NFL Offensive Player of the Year. But his career has kind of been derailed with injuries. He's had a ton of injuries, or he's missed a ton of games and a ton of time with injuries. Not really sure if he's still – I already know he's not a number one. I'm not sure if he's still a number 2. Could definitely be a possession guy, move the sticks. He was never a burner coming out of Ohio State, but he's more of a big-bodied receiver, and in the right situation, he could probably still make some plays. Some of those destinations, I think, or some rebuilding teams that I think should be in search of a wide receiver or have Thomas on their radar would be the LA Chargers, the Arizona Cardinals and the Denver Broncos. The Chargers, I feel like they lost their top 3 targets. Michael Thomas will come in. That will probably be his best quarterback that he's played with since Drew Brees. Playing with Justin Herbert, he would not be asked to do a lot as that team's going to try to run the ball. So he could possibly fit in there. He's a veteran presence there to help some of the younger receivers along. Same thing with Arizona. Arizona would give him a good opportunity to be the veteran guy in the wide receiver room to help out Marvin Harrison Jr. and some of those younger players at the position there. Denver Broncos, I'm not sure how much how strong his relationship is with Sean Payton. Not really sure if that would have him wanting to play with a player like Bo Nix or playing in a rebuilding situation like Denver. Of these 3 teams, I think the Chargers would probably be the best fit for Michael Thomas, who is from LA. He could retire from home. He's getting up there in age. I think he's on the wrong side of 30, if I'm not mistaken. But Michael Thomas has some ability left, not much in the tank. Injuries really, really hurt his career. But we'll see what he's able to do, if he's able to even land on the team. In my opinion, I think he's closer to being out of the league than landing on a team. But I think someone could possibly give him a shot. Next up, we have Hunter Renfrow. Hunter Renfrow is a one-time Pro Bowler. I think Renfrow's issue is he's primarily a slot guy. Has to be the right situation for him. He's not going to come in and be the lead dog. He's not going to come in and be your number 1 guy. He's not going to come in and stretch the field. But he's going to come in and he'll be consistent. Josh McDaniels hiring in Vegas really kind of put a wrench in the development or the progression of Renfrow's career, in my opinion. So now with him being a free agent, some of the teams that I think he would fit or would be good positions for him or good situations for him. Number 1, I would say the Cleveland Browns. It would give him the opportunity to work within the slot. He also gets to reunite with Deshaun Watson. He won a national championship with Deshaun Watson. So I think the chemistry should still be there for him. And as we've seen a trend in the NFL of getting your star quarterback, one of his guys from college, that usually helps outside of, ironically, in Vegas with Devontae and Derek Carr. Next up, I think the New York Giants, they're just devoid of weapons. They need weapons. Malik Neighbors is obviously going to be your number 1. We don't know what's going down with Darius Slayton, how long he'll even be on the team. He hasn't shown up yet. He does want a new contract and could potentially be traded. Jalen Hyatt, he's just more of a speed guy right now. He is someone who will stretch the field. But I think Renfrow would give Daniel Jones an opportunity to help get the ball out quicker. He's a player who can work well in space. He's good at separating on the whip routes. Daniel Jones is going to need as much help as he can. Losing Saquon, who was your focal point on offense, and replacing that now with Malik Neighbors, who's going to be your focal point on your offense, who's a rookie, who's not afraid to wear his emotions on his sleeves. I don't think that that's a good situation for that quarterback. So you're going to try to need to get him as much help as possible. Darren Waller retired recently. Have Singletary in the backfield. So you're going to try to need to get weapons around Daniel Jones if you want him to continue to be Vanilla Vic, I guess. But the third team I think is a good situation as well, but they have cap issues, so I'm not sure how that will work out, will be the New Orleans Saints. Again, you're reuniting him with the quarterback that he's played for or he's played with in Derek Carr. Chris Olave is obviously your top dog there, but they need weapons, and the Saints are in a winnable division. So I could definitely see Renfrow being with the Saints or the Browns. The Giants, like I said, they just need weapons and should be in search of anybody who can catch the ball or run the ball, in my opinion, as well as block. So the best situation out of these 3, I think, would be the New Orleans Saints as far as getting to the playoffs, being in a winnable division. The best quarterback out of this situation may be Derek Carr as well, because we haven't seen Deshaun Watson become what he was in Texas, in Houston, since he's been in Cleveland. Next up, we have Cam Akers. Cam Akers is a 25-year-old running back. He is most notably known for, since being in the NFL, returning from Achilles tear 5.5 months. He has burst, he has speed, he runs with power, he has good balance. He's a pretty good running back, in my opinion, and some teams that I think should have him on his radar are teams who are in need of running back or needed the position. Cam could come in and be the lead dog if he had to. He's played well behind and produced behind rebuilding offensive line and not so well offensive lines with his time with the Rams. But he can also be a running back by committee as well. So these three teams, in my opinion, are teams that should be in search for running back, and Cam Akers fits the bill for all three. First up, you have the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas is on a rebuilding offensive line. This is probably the weakest offensive line that they've had in some time. You're going to have two potentially starters at key positions, either at center and your left tackle, both of them being rookies, and Tyler Guyton and Cooper Beebe. Guyton is 1 year of experience, and he's played primarily on the right side. Now he's going to be shifting to the left side, blocking for Dak, who we've just seen in the walking boot. They don't have a rushing attack right now. They don't have a deep wide receiving core. Right now, it's CeeDee Lamb or bust for the Dallas Cowboys. Going out and getting Cam Akers, I think, would definitely help that offensive line be able to focus on their run blocking and be able to plow ahead, as well as mix in some play action pass, helping CeeDee Lamb out because, like I said, right now it's CeeDee Lamb or bust. I know they do have some young tight ends, but none that are of the Travis Kelce, George Kittle tier. Next up, I think at the Indianapolis Colts. Colts with Shane Steichen. Shane Steichen has always had running back by committees, and his running backs produce in the scheme. Zach Moss took over for Jonathan Taylor while he was dealing with contract issue and then injuries. And I think through the first 4, 5, maybe even 6 weeks, Zach Moss was like third in rushing. So, and that earned him a contract with the Cincinnati Bengals. I think that Cam Akers could come in and be a back that can spell Jonathan Taylor. I think he will be able to still be extremely I think he fits in extremely well with the RPO game, especially with having Anthony Richardson being able to have multiple backs that can go. And right now, with what the Colts have on their roster, I think he could definitely beat out some of those younger backs and easily be RB2 for the Indianapolis Colts. And the third team, I think, would be the Las Vegas Raiders. I think Cam Akers' attitude would fit with the Raiders and what Antonio Pierce wants to do. Pairing him with Zamir White would give you a really good young tandem of running backs, 2 of them on cheap deals, both of them run with power. Akers still has more experience in the NFL than White does, but I think that would give you a nice two-headed monster, especially since you don't really have the best offensive line. You do have weapons. You don't have the best quarterback situation, and you want to get and Antonio Pierce wants to get back to the Raider way of football, which is physical, punch you in the mouth. And I think that Cam Akers would fit that bill perfectly. In my opinion, I think the Raiders or the Cowboys would be the best fits for Cam Akers. Indianapolis would probably give him the best opportunity to be to get the most bang for his buck, being in a running back by committee with a decent offensive line and a scheme that is really suited for running backs. Next up, we have Eddie Jackson. Eddie Jackson is a 30-year-old 2-time Pro Bowler who has 15 career interceptions. This is a player who is still young enough at 30 to give you veteran leadership. He has the experience, and playing in the right system, he can be a ball hawk in that secondary. Definitely best suited for a 2-high free safety position. But he definitely has he brings a lot to your secondary, as well as experience, communication, being able to help young corners out, in which I think these 3 teams would greatly benefit having Eddie Jackson. First up, the Detroit Lions. Detroit ran a lot of 3 safety formations on their defense, but they did lose CJ. He went back to Philly, bringing in a player like Eddie Jackson, who was also an Alabama product. Being able to work with Brian Branch as well as Terrion Arnold would definitely help give them some form of comfortability working with the veteran. We saw how well Brian Branch has played last year. That would allow him to work primarily in the slot, giving you safety. Eddie Jackson, Kirby Joseph being able to play over the top, as well as Fondu. I can't pronounce his last name, but I think he would also be able to work as a swell or as another big Next up, the Tennessee Titans. Tennessee kind of rebuilt their secondary, going out and trading for L'Jarius Sneed, bringing in Chidobe Awuzie as well. So continue to build, continue to get those veteran guys in that secondary to help out that young quarterback. These are, I think that would be a really good position for Eddie Jackson. L'Jarius Sneed, he's a lockdown. Awuzie can also play man to man. You still got Roger McCreary who can play in the slot, and he can even play some safety. So I think that would be a good fit for Eddie Jackson as well down there in Tennessee. Also, the New York Giants. New York Giants, you lose Xavier McKinney, former Alabama safety, replacing with a former Alabama safety and Eddie Jackson. The New York Giants defense is probably going to have to carry this team, as we just talked about a couple players ago. The Giants are void of talent on offense, so you're going to have to continue to strengthen up your defense. You do have a solid pass rush there. You have a solid defensive line with Dexter Lawrence. You have young corners, but you do have Eddie Jackson there at safety if they decided to bring him in. But again, I think Eddie Jackson would definitely be able to benefit from these three teams, and I think he will bring a lot of experience to these three teams as well. Next up, we have Stephon Gilmore. Stephon Gilmore, who is obviously, he's just an older corner. He is, I think, 33, maybe about to be 34, or maybe he just turned 33, but he is a two-time first-team All-Pro. He's a five-time Pro Bowler, Defensive Player of the Year. He's a Super Bowl champion. Even last year, up until the Packers playoff game, he was still being able to produce at a high level as your number two corner. Some teams that I think would benefit from having Stephon Gilmore, the Indianapolis Colts. He's played there before. He's played in the scheme. They did him a favor by trading him to the Cowboys. But now being able to come back, seeing what they have on defense, seeing what they have on offense, maybe they will want to swing it for the fences again and bring in Stephon Gilmore, who can help work with those young corners, because the Colts did not bring in very many corners. This year they did bring back Kenny Moore, who's pretty much just a slot guy, but this would definitely give Stephon Gilmore being able to follow the number one while Juju Brents continues to build and continues to grow and progress as a pro. The Detroit Lions. Detroit, I think, with the young corners that they have, having a player of Stephon Gilmore to be in that room and more of a coach on the field, help them out. Plus his little brother plays there. I think that would be pretty cool for him going in his last season. He's already kind of done everything. He could retire now and be set, but I think he still does want to play. Detroit, I think, would be a really good place for him as well. And obviously the Washington Commanders. The Washington Commanders are in the same situation. They have young corners, but they just picked up Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn was the defensive coordinator with the Cowboys last year, who Stephon Gilmore played with. It just kind of makes sense, and those two kind of fit hand in hand. Out of these three teams, though, I think the Detroit Lions will probably be the best feel-good story for Stephon Gilmore, being able to coach and work with his little brother, working with those young corners. He would be able to be on somewhat of a pitch count, let the younger corners grow through the season, and then coming into the playoffs, you have a solid secondary going up with a solid defense, and you already know what their offense is capable of. Next up, we have Yannick Ngakoue. Yannick Ngakoue is one-time Pro Bowler. He is 29 years old, but it seems like every team that he's been on, he has produced 8 to 9 sacks a season, if I'm not mistaken. He has 69 sacks in 8 seasons on 6 different teams. Some of those teams that I think should be interested in Ngakoue would be the Washington Commanders, who are in need of edge help. Dan Quinn loves a good Leo and edge rusher. This is a position that Ngakoue played before, playing with the Indianapolis Colts. Being able to triplet or pair Ngakoue with Jonathan Allen and Daron Payne, clogging the middle would give him opportunities to work one-on-one, and we know that this guy is able to get to the quarterback. Another team I can see is the Carolina Panthers, who traded away Brian Burns. They did bring home the South Carolina product, Jadeveon Clowney, but he's more of a run-stopping edge rusher, which would give you 2 solid edge rushers, one who primarily is the run, is well against the run, and Ngakoue, who's pretty much a force against the pass. So that would still help your defense in a winnable division. They did beef up their offensive line and their offensive weaponry around Bryce Young, but they did do it in it did cost them some of their defensive weaponry. And then finally, I think Kansas City Chiefs, Ngakoue would fit extremely well in that scheme, working on the opposite side of Carl Loftus, as well as being able to take some of the pressure off of Chris Jones in that middle. And Chris Jones is a player who's able to move up and down the line. They could be lined up next to each other, or they could be on the opposite sides of each other. But I just think this would be a really good pickup for the Kansas City Chiefs. It would be a cheap deal. You're adding at least 8 sacks to your defense, and that's going to help that secondary because, again, we did get rid of L'Jarius Sneed. So you do have young corners back there. The best way to help those young corners is with a ferocious front seven. And Kansas City already has that with Chris Jones. Adding Ngakoue would just be more ice on the cake and help them get closer and closer to a three-peat this year. Next up, we have DJ Humphrey. DJ Humphrey is a left tackle that's a position of need. He's a decent left tackle. He's a one-time Pro Bowler, and he's a 4-time team captain with the Arizona Cardinals, who just recently released him. These 3 teams are teams that could definitely use DJ Humphrey and Humphreys would definitely upgrade all 3 of these teams' offensive line. The Dallas Cowboys are first up, who need a left tackle. Rookie Tyler Guyton has 1 year of experience, and it's at right tackle. DJ Humphreys is a left tackle that would allow Guyton to play with his set position at least for a season before you transitioned him over. This would help your rushing attack. And again, we just talked about Dak Prescott being in a walking boot. Getting him protection is only a smart thing. The issue is, do the Cowboys have the money to be able to bring in a player like Humphreys? I think he would be able to take something cheap with Dallas not having state taxes and whatnot, but we just have to see how everything will work there. The other 2 teams, one being the Kansas City Chiefs, in my opinion, would probably be the best situation for DJ Humphrey. Donovan Smith played last year, and he's one of him and Jawan Taylor are probably 2 of the worst tackles in football when it comes to holding and how they play. But during the playoffs, they played extremely well. Humphreys, in my opinion, is a better left tackle than Donovan Smith. Being able to work Kingsley Suamataia, who they drafted out of BYU, onto that right side, you give an opportunity to Jawan Taylor to be a high-priced backup or be able to get some of that money back in either a trade or a release. But I think that would definitely still be able to solidify that offensive line. Patrick Mahomes is still in the prime of his career, and if you want to continue to see him produce like such and continue to see him grow, and as he does get older, if some of his athletic ability wanes, you still want to be able to get him protected. You don't want to risk injuring the best player in the NFL, and I think DJ Humphries would definitely upgrade that left side for Patrick Mahomes. And the final team, I think, will be the Las Vegas Raiders, who we talked about. They don't have the best quarterback situation. They don't have the best running back situation. They don't have the best offensive line, but they do have some weapons. Being able to get a left tackle of Humphreys' caliber with the fact that he is a 4-time captain, that means a lot when you're trying to set in a new culture like Antonio Pierce is trying to do. You could bring in Humphreys on a 2-year deal. That way, you have that blindside position set for at least the next 2 years while you develop either Aiden O'Connell, Gardner Minshew, or you go to next year's draft or next year's free agency and bring in your veteran or your franchise quarterback. Next up, we have Xavier Howard. Xavier Howard is probably one of the top 2, maybe top 3 remaining free agents. And the teams that need cornerback are a plethora, but teams that I think make the most sense. Obviously, one would be the Indianapolis Colts, who missed out on L'Jarius Sneed. They did attempt to trade with the Kansas City Chiefs, but they missed out on him. They're still in need of a number 1 corner. Xavier Howard fits the bill perfectly. He is a player who can man up. He's going to get his hands on the football. He's going to get interceptions, and he's going to be able to travel with that number 1 wide receiver, which will consistently allow Kenny to work in the slot and Juju to continue to grow, and Jalen Jones as well to continue to grow in their secondary. The Kansas City Chiefs, obviously, they lost L'Jarius Sneed, replaced him with Xavier Howard. I think that will be a match made in heaven. You still have Trent McDuffie on one side. You would have Xavier Howard on the other side, and this would, again, help this team progress towards history, something that no team has ever done, and that's make 23 straight Super Bowls. And obviously, last but not least, the Houston Texans. Xavier Howard is from Texas. He played at Baylor. Being in Houston, probably early on in his career was something that he probably didn't want to do, regardless of playing for your hometown team or playing for, your home state, if you will. But now the Texans are real. They still have a rookie quarterback. They built a hell of a defense. They built a hell of a roster around C.J. Stroud. Being able to get a player like Xavier Howard to come in and compete would definitely seal that number one spot in the AFC South for the Houston Texans, in my opinion. And this would also give them another defensive weapon in stopping or competing with the Kansas City Chiefs. Xavier Howard should definitely be signed before camp starts, in my opinion. Next up, we have David Bakhtiari. David Bakhtiari he was on a Hall of Fame trajectory. He still possibly could be a Hall of Famer. I think he had 5 consecutive All-Pro seasons from 2016 to 2021. He tore his ACL, which kind of derailed his last few seasons in Green Bay. But some teams that I think make sense for Bakhtiari, the New York Jets. I know they overhauled their offensive line, but Bakhtiari is one of Aaron Rodgers' guys. Aaron Rodgers has the pool in New York. He gets what he wants. And if he wants Bakhtiari there, he'll be there. The two teams that I think makes the most sense for Bakhtiari, the player, would be the Kansas City Chiefs. Again, this team is trying to go to a three-peat. This would allow Bakhtiari to go ahead and start at left tackle. You have a future Hall of Fame left tackle. You have 2 solid guards. You have one of the best centers in football. And this would allow Kingsley Suamataia to battle Jawaan Taylor for that right tackle position. Suamataia played both left and right, and I think he gave up 1 sack the last 2 years. Jawaan Taylor could definitely be a cap casualty and be able to start allowing Kansas City to recoup some of that money. Finally, Dallas Cowboys with the same exact situation with Bakhtiari as for DJ Humphrey, bringing in a future Hall of Fame left tackle who has played for Mike McCarthy. He knows the system. He'll be able to help Guyton along, even if it's on a 1-year deal. I know you just replaced Tyron Smith, who was always injured. Don't probably want to bring in another injury concern at the most important position outside of quarterback on your offense. However, Bakhtiari, if healthy, could be one of the best left tackles in football. He's played for Mike McCarthy. He could come in on a cheap deal. Dallas does not have very much wiggle room with what they're doing cap-wise right now. And at least you're still trying to show that you are trying to compete. Next up, we have Quandre Diggs, defensive back that is primarily a safety. He does play a little bit of slot. He's able to blitz. Diggs is a baller, man. Little guy, but is a baller. He's a 3-time Pro Bowler, and he's a 2-time captain with the Seahawks. Tennessee Titans, I think, would be a good fit for Diggs. Same exact situation for the previous safety, Eddie Jackson. They've already brought in 2 veteran corners. Bring you in a veteran safety and help those younger DBs know where to line up, help with the communication, help with the calls. I think that would be a tremendous fit for helping build the Tennessee Titans up on defense. The Buffalo Bills, they lost their starting 2 safeties. They brought back Taylor Rapp. Quandre Diggs gives you veteran presence, veteran leadership. He is a smart, instinctive defensive back, able to get his hands on the football as well. And finally, I think the Atlanta Falcons, pairing him up with Jesse Bates, A.J. Terrell, would definitely give you a solid secondary in a winnable division. The NFC South is a winnable division, but the teams have got to make some move that separates them. Right now, I think all of those teams, including Tampa Bay Buccaneers, are middle of the pack, and that's in their division. Though the NFC South winner could host a playoff game, and they would probably win 8-9 games. Quandre Diggs, I think, would help benefit some of the things that Raheem Morris likes to run on his with his defense. Lastly, we have Justin Simmons, who should be the top dog outside of Xavier Howard on people's radar. Teams that I think would what's Justin Simmons. He is a 2-time All Pros, one-time Pro Bowler. But he's just a baller. He's instinctive. He has a good football IQ. He's great size at 6'2". He has great range. He's not afraid to come up and run support as well. And some teams that I think would like to have Justin Simmons' services are playoff teams or potential playoff teams. Number one, I think the Indianapolis Colts. They brought back Julian Blackmon, but it was on a one-year deal. Still have Nick Cross, who is a young, developing safety. Bringing a player like Justin Simmons in could definitely help groom Cross. And I believe the Colts have enough money to bring him in on a multi-year deal as well. This would allow or alleviate some of the need by allowing Blackmon to go elsewhere next season in free agency or even trade deadline this year. The Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore has two really good safeties. Kyle Hamilton is a move piece. He is a freak of nature. At 6'4", he can play anywhere really on defense. So bringing in a player like Simmons allows you to consistently move your chest piece, Hamilton, around, but it still doesn't weaken your safety position when you move him around. And the Philadelphia Eagles, bringing in C.J. Gardner-Johnson is a great pickup. They still have Reed Blankenship. The Cooper DeJean is said to be playing corner first. Justin Simmons would fit perfectly with the Philadelphia Eagles. They do and would have to have time to develop and grow, but getting him in there before camp would be an extremely big move. And I think that will secure the Philadelphia Eagles victory in the NFC East and even heading forward. I think that could be a move that actually puts them above a lot of the teams in the NFC. So guys, that was my video, man. Again, we will have some more coming up. Gonna probably touch on some things that happened during training camp, any of these signings or anything like that as well. Again, check me out, D's Gaming Corner on Twitch as well as YouTube. Go ahead and like, share, subscribe there. Follow me on Twitch, the Double D's Let's Talk Pro Ball podcast, as well as Double D's Let's Talk NCAA, Double D's Gaming as well. We just got a lot of things going on, man. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, follow me, check out everything that I got going on. I truly, truly appreciate it. Y'all have a good day. Enjoy your week, and God bless.
Spazzing on the beat, they think I'm crazy. Got it under control, babe. You don't want smoke, all you see is the same.
LB tapping, keys and making waves. Ay.
Step back, keep your distance. Ain't no telling what I just may do. I've been vibing, minding my business. Throw one up if you can relate to. Said if I ain't got it, I make do. Can't be stuck waiting on a breakthrough. And I don't need everybody praying for me. Ain't no telling who you niggas pray to.